What's on? Oh, Westworld, right? We're talking about Westworld
We're
today?
talking about Westworld.
All right, cool.
Shout out to Hack's Dogma.
Shout out to Hack's Dogma. Westworld episode 3.
Yeah, season 1, episode 3.
What was it? The absence of field?
Yes.
I don't know, some weird, stupid name, but
It's
they got from
cryptic.
got from a poem somewhere
Yeah.
that was written in 1833 or some shit.
It has like some nuanced explanation about what the
You had to
episode's about.
translate it from space language.
Matt, it's a salient title.
Just before we get going, this show, I had to watch the entire series this week, right?
Yeah.
Well, from middle of season 2 on, I feel so stupid watching this show. And it's not that the show is stupid. It just makes me feel stupid because I can't follow it.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's not
too much.
easy. It's really not easy.
Whoa.
It's not just you, dude. I feel dumb as a box of rocks when I watch this show.
And I watch Hacks' videos, and I'm still confused.
Really?
Yeah, dude,
Oh.
it's ridiculous.
No, he helps me for sure. But I was like these, especially season 2. Season 1 was, I got season 1. It was good. I figured it out. But season 2, I was like so lost with all these different subplots and all these characters, and the timeline was all screwed up. You didn't know if you were watching 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future or whatever. You were just like, who's this? You know, because you're watching these androids that don't age. And you have no idea. The show doesn't give you a time frame because they want you to figure it out. They try to keep it a mystery until the very end, which it's fine. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together where you put all the edge pieces there first and then you kind of work your way in. It's kind of how I would describe the type of narrative this show has. And I'm just like, man, I'm so glad there's smarter people out there than me who can tell me what this show's about.
Did you watch season 2 more than once?
I probably did, yeah. But it's been like, what, 2 years since it came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did watch it
I
more than once.
rewatched the second season before season 3 came out just to kind of familiarize myself with
Apparently,
everything.
this episode 3 with Charlotte Hale, there's a lot of callbacks to season 2 that are finally starting to make sense. Like if you watch them in season 2, you wouldn't know, but now season 3 is coming out. Now the pieces are kind of coming together, which, I mean, that's a really cool way for the showrunners to kind of keep things fresh and keep things interesting and real cryptic and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, man, can we just have like a complete story?
You know, that's what I liked about the Takechima. Is that his name? The Indian guy?
Oh, yeah.
In season 2. That episode in particular blew me away.
It was a fantastic
It was an amazing episode, but it felt like it was self-encapsulated to the point where I enjoyed it. And I think that's why I did enjoy that episode so much.
Yeah.
It's because it moved the narrative along, but it was also
It was so
a cool story about what that specific character
very
gone through.
focused on that one character, and it showed his whole storyline from beginning to end. It was fantastic.
it was
and the
amazing.
acting in it and just the drama itself, man. That was a hard-hitting episode, but
How about that Game of Thrones callback?
that was last episode.
That was-
But
Oh,
I
was that
loved-
in 2?
Yeah, that was in 2.
that was in 2.
I liked it though. I thought it was cool. I had my little fan theory about them getting fired after that, so I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I can live with D&D being technicians. But anyway, episode 3. So the biggest thing we need to figure out, this kind of set up a mystery, is who is inside of Charlotte Hale's body. That's the one thing. Like there's a bunch of other speculation you can do about this episode, but that was the one thing I was really
So
focused
Dolores
on.
escaped Westworld with 5 pearls.
Yep.
And one of them was Bernard.
Yep.
And then one of them she put in a replicant body of Charlotte Hale, who was the kind of head of the Delios Corporation, or at least like
chairman, one of the chairmen.
The chairman. She was like one of the bigwigs. And so basically Dolores has installed a fake Charlotte at the head of Delios in order to kind of pull the puppet strings while she's off kind of setting the stage for her revolution. And they've never told you who she's smuggled out other than Bernard. And so the real question, like you said, is who is the brain that's inside of Charlotte Hale's body?
What are you guys thinking?
Do
you have an opinion?
I do, but I know it's not right.
What do you think?
Do you guys remember Maeve's brothel friend from season 1?
Clementine or Hector?
Clementine.
Clementine.
I feel like it might be Clementine because she got real dark. She was like real
it has to be
murdery.
someone that Dolores trusts implicitly, and she was not that close with
She wasn't
Clementine.
close with her? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. Okay, that was my option 1, which I said outright that I knew it wasn't right, so I covered myself for being completely
You're
wrong.
still a very smart boy.
No, I'm not. No, not even close. Jesus, I don't know, man. Who else was Dolores? Teddy's gone. He's in like Never Never Land with the rest of the
No,
people.
he's not.
No, he's not.
He killed himself before they went into the forge.
Right. And she took his pearl, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Like the
No.
Yeah.
The end of season 2 was him like in the field waiting for Dolores to come through, and she never came through.
No, Dolores wasn't even anywhere near the forge.
Who was in?
We're
It
all
was
gonna have to
James
rewatch it.
Marsden.
Did you even watch season 2?
I did.
What show are you watching?
What show? Did you watch Sonic the Hedgehog and think that you were watching Westworld?
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think you and I think it's the same person, right?
Possibly, but so just to refresh Alex's memory, so
Yeah, I'm obviously lost.
so basically, Maeve and her crew were the ones with all the replicant or all the hosts that were going into the forge. Maeve's daughter got into the forge, but Dolores was kind of in the forge's control center when Bernard killed her, so she wasn't anywhere near there. And Teddy had died long before they got to the forge, and Dolores basically took his pearl with her, so it was on her body, which was in the control center of the forge. So it was Teddy was already out of the picture before they opened up that door and all the hosts started going through it. Make sense?
I swear to God, he was in the forge.
He was not.
He was there. It's
was
a
not.
meme. He was like standing in the field by. Who was that then? Who was standing in the field by himself, waiting for somebody to come through, and nobody ever came?
The Indian guy's wife, girlfriend, love, she was there waiting for him. He went through. I think he was like the last one to go through or something. But yeah, Teddy was never. He never entered the forge. 100% sure.
I think she's William.
I think it's William.
The man.
What is your logic
Frickin'.
for that?
You feel smarter now? You just blew my mind.
Yeah, Matt, what's your reasoning behind?
I don't know. It just feels like that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Because he's. Oh, that makes sense.
See that when me and Jude were watching it, I turned over. I was like, I think it's William.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Man in Black, Ed Harris's character.
That makes sense with the comment that she made when she killed that pedophile. And she's like, I feel like a predator now. I feel more
I
like
feel
me
more
than-"
like myself.
Yeah.
And we don't know what time frame that stuff where he's in the isolated unit in the end.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that
could be 100
much like
years in
what
the
happened
future.
with Maeve. I think that was a simulation that Dolores ran in order to kind of get him on her side. And I think the next episode we're going to see what he went through, and then it's going to come out that like, okay, he's now aligned with Dolores.
Yeah.
William is the missing seat on the board that was taken over
Right.
by the AI, right? So he's missing, which made that's all. Yeah, yep. You guys are right. It's William, totally. Man in
It's
Black.
his company, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he
think
stole it
the-
from his father-in-law.
The only other two people I thought that it could be would be Teddy or her dad.
Abernathy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
he-
I was like,
he was
those are
never
the
a
only
killer, though.
people that she was close with.
yeah.
Pretty much everybody from the first two seasons is gone except for like 5 or 6, right? And of the main cast. And that's Dolores and
I don't know if
Fake
they're gone.
Maeve.
Like any host character is still around.
yeah, but
The only person who I think is truly gone is what's his name?
Ford.
Anthony Hopkins' character Ford.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back. So like that was the first big mystery is who is in Charlotte Hale's body, and I agree with Matt and Jude. I do think it's probably William. That's my theory. Barring William, it's either Teddy or Abernathy, one of those two. But I just feel like this is a show that would pull that it's really the Man in Black type thing. But the second thing is, so at the end of this episode, we find out that Charlotte Hale was secretly working with this season's big bad guy.
The real Charlotte Hale.
The real Charlotte Hale.
Yeah.
And what's the bad guy's name again?
Starts with an S.
Sirach.
Sirach,
Yes.
yes.
Sirach. Good job.
that's very
It was.
James
I knew it
Bond.
was an alcohol.
Yeah. So basically,
Of course.
Yeah.
so in this episode, Sirach does a hostile takeover of Delios, where he buys up 30% of their stock and becomes like the primary
Majority
shareholder.
owner, yeah.
And this kind of messes up Dolores' plans, and so she orders fake Charlotte to find out who this guy is and fix things. And so Charlotte kind of goes and figures out a way to contact Sirach. And the final scene in the movie or in the show is her meeting with him and finding out that the real Charlotte was in cahoots with him all along, and that Charlotte's been his inside man in the company.
Because the two other board members come and say, "Hey, we have a mole in the company," and then it ends up actually being Charlotte, the real Charlotte.
Fake Charlotte doesn't know who
Fake
the mole
Charlotte,
is,
yeah.
and they find out that she's the
her.
mole.
And the way that she meets him is, so she goes to like this location and she puts on these VR glasses, and so he's not actually at the location, but his image appears, and that's how he kind of meets clandestinely with her. And this is the same character who met with Maeve at the end of the second episode, where he's like, I brought you into the real world, and like he has like control over Maeve, so she can't kill him. But he's kind of like been revealed as like, okay, he's either the big hero of this story because he's trying to stop Dolores' revolution, or he's like the big villain because he's trying to stop Dolores' revolution.
I suppose it would depend on which side you're going to take. Are you taking the robot side, or are you taking humanity's side?
Right.
Well, the interesting thing about this character is like, he's like, my business is the future. And he's like, he's the guy who I think is either in charge, or he helped create that big kind of AI ball that Dolores is trying to get access
Rehoboam.
to. And
It's a cool name.
And this
from the Bible.
And Dolores in this kind of explained that this AI has been kind of running these really involved simulations that allow the people who control it to basically control everyone's lives.
Yeah.
So Aaron Paul's character, because they have a 97% probability that he's going to kill himself, they don't want to invest anything in him, so they keep him from achieving his true potential because they're like, he's a loser, he's going to die, we don't want to waste time.
I was going to say, he's actively trying to better his life and get himself out of this rut that he's in this rut of depression, because he's got post-traumatic
PTSD.
stress from being out of the army. He lost his best friend in some kind of a botched mission.
His mom doesn't.
Yeah, his mom doesn't know who he.
him.
Yeah, he's in terrible luck and just down and out. And he's trying to actively make his life better, but he keeps getting knocked down. And you kind of, this was like a really kind of a heavy moment for the show, and you see the realization on his face that it's like, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
It's other people who are stopping me from progressing. It's the system that's around, the Rehoboam, the one that's controlling everybody's lives.
That realization of I can't catch a break, and realizing, no, they wouldn't let you catch a break.
Yeah.
That was,
I think, last podcast we talked about episode 2, where I was like, I think he's going to team up with Dolores willingly because he doesn't like the system any more than she does.
And it gives you an interesting perspective here, where it's like, is Dolores actually the hero in this story because she's the one trying to take down the system, or is the system the good guy where he's trying to stop this potentially humanity ending?
I think you got two really crappy philosophies going to war against each other. There's no Maeve's the good guy in this show.
Maeve?
Yeah.
oh, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, well, you know me. I want everybody to be in a matrix, so I'm on Dolores' side. Fuck humanity,
Dolores
robots.
the freaky-
Fuck yeah, robots.
The freaky part about this show is I look at it and I don't see too much of a stretch between where we could actually go as a society.
Oh, for sure.
It's a little weird.
Yeah, I kind of almost feel like that type of thing.
Even with these stupid phones we all carry around.
Yeah. It's kind of like
these are data collectors.
Yeah.
There's nothing we do without these things now.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of a short documentary about China and how they about how they track their citizens, and it's completely mandatory. You have this phone, you have this app that connects to you, and this is one of the things that they talked about with COVID-19, being able to track where you were at all times and who you had contact with. Because if somebody else's cell phone is within ping range of yours, and you come down with COVID-19, then the government will text that other person and say, you came within 6 feet of this person. You must now go into self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
There's all kinds of examples.
So crazy
of stuff. It's like the stupid chips you put in your car.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, we're going to track how you drive, and this is going to determine your insurance rate.
Yep.
It's like, oh, no, fuck you. It's just...
We're already moving in that direction.
We're already heading there. Yeah. And, and the whole world's just based on all these different algorithms and stuff, and that's all that thing is doing. It's a giant algorithm ball.
Yeah.
It's the show.
It's Google.
The show does have a very futurism philosophy to it. But one of the things that I pointed out to Jude, which was a theory that came to me as I was watching that final scene in this episode, was that the character of Sirach is actually just the AI in that ball manifest.
I can see that.
And so Maeve was not in the real world. She was in a simulation run by that AI. And this character of Sirach is just the embodiment of this AI. And so when he didn't actually show up, he was just kind of like a projection on those glasses that Hale was wearing at the end of this episode. I was like, I don't think he's real.
That makes sense as to why he was able to control Maeve also, because if they were inside of a simulation, she wouldn't have complete control.
Yeah, and Westworld's really good at doing these like these fake outs where, so like when he stopped Maeve, he showed like this little control thing that he had where he was like, I'm going to stop her. But I think he wanted her to think that she was in the real world. And that's why he had that deception when in fact it was just another simulation. And that this AI, this big, circle thing that's in the middle of everything.
Say it.
What is it?
Rehoboam.
Rochambeau?
Not gonna say it.
He refuses the ball.
Rambo? Is that what,
Oh man, I love Rambo.
Yeah. so like the Rambo AI.
It's like these really thin pancakes. You fill them with fruit.
Yeah.
The crepes.
The Rambo AI is either the big bad in this season, or it's the thing that is kind of actively working against Dolores.
As I guess, I don't know, I can kind of consider myself a libertarian. I feel like any kind of form of overt control over your life is the bad guy. Like I'm kind of on Dolores' side. Like burn it all. I mean, I'm not like humanity. I think she's going to see some kind of good in humanity with Aaron Paul's character. I can't remember his name. The actual character's name. Was it Nick or something?
Jesse.
No, it's not Jesse.
Jesse Pinkman.
That poor guy.
Yay,
Ray?
science.
Yeah.
Is it Ray?
No.
What do you think about that, bitch?
Anyway, I think
what was weird is he had those like enhancements inside of his mouth that
he had turned off.
That he had turned off, and it was like something that the government gives soldiers to control their vitals, like their heart rate and stuff.
Well, I think that's the manipulation of it. I think what it was is because the guys that took it from or took over control of it were talking about it like it was some kind of a medication drip. Like you put this in, and then whenever you might need it, the medication gets inserted into you.
It's not medication. It's something that actually controls your vitals.
In fact, I thought that was something that every human has now.
No, I think it's just soldiers.
Because he said it's military grade.
Yeah, military grade.
So people probably do have.
But
those.
they jacked up his heart rate to like mess with him.
Yeah, to get him all trippy.
Once they hacked it.
Caleb
Nichols, right? Caleb Nichols, is that his last name?
Damn it.
Sorry. Where was he born?
Matter.
What's his mom's name?
Jesus Christ.
No, it doesn't. Caleb.
He's a Leo. He likes warm walks on the beach in the rain.
He hates that bitch
He
Carol
loves
Baskin.
strawberry milkshakes with 2 cherries.
And no whip.
Pour one out for George the robot. That was a really sad moment.
Oh, I know.
I was bummed out. I was like,
that was
they just
his
killed
only friend.
his robot buddy. He
Yeah.
had lunch with him on the scaffolding. I was like, man.
And he was coming to save him.
Yeah.
I was expecting George to fuck some
remember
shit
that?
up.
Yeah.
That was the same robot.
Like he just kind of fell.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, man.
The robot they shot is not the same robot that he ate lunch with at work.
Not that they shot. It was the one that came to help Caleb, and they just pushed him off the side of the building.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The one they shot, the
site.
white one at the
I
beginning.
thought you were talking about the...
No, not the one from
The
last
Maeve?
episode.
The Maeve robot? Is that what you're thinking?
That was episode 2.
It doesn't matter. Keep going.
You had too much margarita.
Also,
One
Silly.
whole one.
also the scene where Dolores has that shootout with the fake cops or the corrupt cops.
Yeah.
That was a really cool scene.
She sits up and she's just got that gun between her legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was awesome. What?
Nothing.
Hey, she hates the patriarchy.
Yeah. So I have a question about that scene because I'm trying to be as critical as I can because I know a lot of people are getting kind of like overly aggressive about their criticism about the show for some reason. A lot of people dislike it. I don't really know why. I was trying to figure it out.
Because it's hard to follow.
Maybe. But I was like following it. I'm watching the show and I'm like, so how does she work? Because in the previous seasons, we've seen these robots get hurt and they go down and they're injured. They're capable of losing enough blood to stop functioning. But in this, once they get like that level of control over themselves, they are able to turn off all their sensory whatever it is that they're using.
Well, Maeve can.
So can
But
Dolores.
she's super robot.
So Dolores is the same way.
Well, in season 2, she does get shot quite a bit, and she's just fine.
Yeah, it's like the
Just shrugs it
Terminator. So, but in this one, she gets shot and she falls over and she starts dying, and then Aaron Paul has to come and help her out. And then all of a sudden, like when the time is right, she just pops up and starts blowing people away again, like nothing ever happened. And I'm like, so is there like a Mary Sue thing going on here, or am I overthinking
I
that?
don't think
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm not quite sure how it works exactly. I know that when she had that shootout in the first episode, they did have like a line or two that said something like you've been critically damaged, and she's like, don't worry about me, like stay on mission. And so I think it might have been something where like the endoskeleton, the machine part of her, did have some type of damage, but she was able to, I don't know, move past it with the help of like the EMTs or something like that in this episode. It's not exactly clear, but I was okay with it.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody out there knows.
Ask Hack's dog.
Yeah, Hack's dog.
He's like, well, as you can see from episode
one of season one.
2,
That guy goes deep, man. I love it. It's awesome.
If you look at
That sounded weird.
If you look at the lighting on the back wall,
I was into it.
he goes deep.
How
Goes
deep?
deep.
Say it again, guys. How deep does he go?
Anyway, is there anything else you guys want to talk about this episode? We've got.
So what are the big theories of this episode? It's have we agreed on who Charlotte Hale?
Well, yeah, you guys just totally wiped my theory out the window. It's definitely the Man in Black, 100%. I'm going to go with that.
All right. And do we think that Sirach is actually Rambo?
Rehoboam.
I'm not convinced of that yet.
Yeah, I don't know. He might still be real. I'm not on that page yet, but we'll see. We'll find out here soon.
Not everything in this show can be fake.
This is true.
Yeah. One of the great things about Westworld is like you can't trust anything they tell you. It's all there's always something behind it that is lurking in the background that's just waiting to be revealed.
This is just another world inside the park.
A simulation within the simulation.
Yeah.
Ooh, they hinted at that too.
They did in the first episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
They hinted at that, which is pretty crazy.
All I know is I want my Uber, my Uber drone.
The flying one or the one on the ground?
Oh, those things are, dude. Talk about
The tech is awesome in this show.
the tech in this show is so
and
cool.
it's not so far away to where it can't be real.
Yeah.
Those Uber taxis.
Oh yeah.
Those are working at CES last year.
Really?
They didn't have humans in them, but they're there.
Wow.
Full size, flying around with mannequins and stuff in them. In the back lots of the casinos during CES trip. Very cool.
It's funny. The thing I wanted from this episode was the hamburger and milkshake. That looked good.
What now?
Oh, with the diner.
God, you've been on a diet for too long.
Yeah, I have. I miss food.
Yeah.
All
No,
right,
I keep baking things for when you guys come over. Matt can't have any of it.
Oh, speaking of, I'm gonna get a. Are we? Can we talk about a movie that I saw?
Yeah.
Before we talk about Picard.
real quick, can we just talk about the next episode? It's going to be Man in Black centric.
Yeah.
Is it all about him being with Dolores in his white straitjacket?
No, I mean, like, it's definitely going to be an Ed Harris centric episode, and so we're going to get to see like what happens with William after the kind of cliffhanger.
That's what convinced me that this was William inside of Charlotte, because she kept asking who she was, and I think in the trailer for next week, he keeps asking the same thing.
Well, no, he says, "I know who I am."
Yeah, and it just kind of pieced it together for me.
But it also makes you wonder, like fake Charlotte totally had sex with that one guy. So
She started to.
you're like, I didn't know William swung that much. Man in Black doesn't seem
Getting like
the type.
altered carbon era of like weirdness.
I didn't even see the previews for next week, so whatever.
It looks pretty intense.
It's all about Dolores just probably breaking down the Man in Black's psyche to the point where she can control him, which will be interesting. It'll be but it'll be a interesting turn of events, considering how much control he had over her in the last 2 seasons.